Medgar Wiley Evers was born in Decatur, Mississippi on July 19, 1925. As a child, he always wondered why he became the target of white children his age who taunted him from the school buses. Because of Evers' strong upbringing, he was quickly aware of how to distinguish the wrong from the right. Medgar's father preached to him to ignore the things that happened in his environment and to believe and have faith that he could set examples for others around him the way he did. As a young adult, Medgar strived to be different, making sure that he earned everything he received. To make sure he earned his high school diploma, he walked 12 miles back and forth to school. Later, he joined the U.S. Army in the early 1940s. After being forced away at gunpoint from a voting poll in a local election, Evers and his brothers decided to join the NAACP, who were against segregation and did not believe in keeping the power only in the hands of the white Southerner. They became very active in the association while Evers attended Alcorn College, where he later graduated in 1952. Evers also began to establish local chapters in the NAACP. In his senior year of college, he married Merle Beasley. Merle Evers Williams was born in Vicksburg, Mississippi on March 17, 1933. Merle Evers attended Alcorn AME College, where she met Medgar. She left Alcorn before getting her degree, and she and Medgar married on Christmas Eve of 1951. Together they started a family and lived off the earnings Evers received for selling life insurance. While working for the company, Medgar was able to document the hardships of blacks in the rural areas he visited. Here he witnessed attempted lynchings and many hate crimes. The president of the Regional Council of Negro Leadership was Evers' boss. He taught him all there was to know about activism. He went on to become the leader and field secretary of the NAACP of Mississippi. After applying to the University of Mississippi and being rejected, Medgar's focus was geared toward the NAACP campaign. This encouraged him to become instrumental in the desegregation of the university. In 1962, James Meredith became the first African American to integrate the school. As prominent civil rights leaders in Mississippi, the Evers became high-profile targets for pro-segregational violence and terrorism. Medgar's public investigation of the Emmett Till case made him an even bigger target to the whites who didn't agree with what he stood for. Evers' house in Jackson, Mississippi was firebombed in 1962 as a reaction to Medgar's organized boycott of downtown Jackson's white merchants. Weeks prior to his death, Evers found himself threatened and almost killed as he walked out of his NAACP office. The violence and threats finally reached an all-time high on June 12, 1963, as Medgar exited his vehicle in Jackson, Mississippi. He was shot in the back directly in front of his family home. He died on the scene. The assassin, a white supremacist, Byron De La Beckwith, would go on trial for the murder. Beckwith claimed the gun found at the crime scene was indeed his, but was stolen a few weeks prior to the murder. Even with his fingerprints on the weapon, he insisted that he was not the killer. He was tried twice in the 1960s and acquitted both times because the all-white jury could not come to a verdict. He walked free for the next 30 years. Mrs. Evers and her 3 children moved to Claremont, California, where she enrolled at Pomona College and began working toward her bachelor's degree in sociology. In 1967, she co-wrote a book about her husband, For Us, the Living, with William Peters, and she continued to make numerous personal appearances on behalf of the NAACP. In 1968, she earned her degree from Pomona College. In 1988, she was the first black woman to be named to the 5-member Board of Public Works by Los Angeles Mayor Tom Bradley, where she helped oversee a budget of nearly $1 billion. In 1955, Merle Evers Williams became the first woman to chair the NAACP, a position she held until 1998. In 1999, she published her memoirs, Watch Me Fly, What I Learned on the Way to Becoming the Woman I Was Meant to Be, which charts her journey from being the wife of an activist to becoming a community leader in her own right. She also kept up pressure to retry the case of her first husband's assassin, and in the early 1990s she convinced prosecutors in Mississippi to reopen the case. Aiding the prosecution were new witnesses willing to testify against Beckwith and Murley's own copy of the original trial transcript, since the official one supposedly on record had been removed sometime earlier by the Mississippi Sovereignty Commission, a secret organization that from 1956 to 1973 had been charged with maintaining the racial status quo. After the case was reopened in 1994, the evidence proved that Beckwith was the killer. Evers' body was exhumed and another autopsy was conducted. Another funeral gave those who could not remember him an opportunity to see the man that became an important figure in the African American civil rights movement. On February 4, 1994, Beckwith was found guilty by a jury consisting of 8 African Americans and 4 whites. The 73-year-old man was sentenced to life in prison, where he died in 2001. Medgar Evers' hard work and determination paid off in the end, and justice was finally served, thanks to his beloved wife, family, and friends. You can kill a man, but you can't kill an idea. Medgar Evers. This video may be used for educational purposes only.